Cobra Kai.
Kidding.
So I actually watched Cobra Kai first before Karate Kid. I saw the show, then I went back and watched the movie. So there's that for me. But for
You've seen none of the movies.
Well, now I have.
Well, no, but I mean, you'd seen zero, not even Jackie Chan, zero movies, but pre Cobra Kai.
Actually, I think I may have seen the Jackie Chan one.
Okay.
I just don't have like a big memory of it. You know, like those movies that you just see and then you forget about. It was like that. It didn't have this like the fact that I can't remember kind of says
it says everything. Yeah.
I definitely didn't see it in theaters. It was kind of, it was maybe on TV or something. I don't even remember. Probably saw clips. I knew of it. Just, I could have watched it and I just had no idea. It didn't really stand out. And I guess I probably never watched the full thing. Cause I think if I did watch the full thing, I would have enjoyed it and I would have gotten into it.
Yeah.
But for you, before we get into this news, were you into Karate Kid? Like how long before Cobra Kai were you a Karate Kid fan?
Decades. Long before you were born. So I don't remember when I first watched Karate Kid.
Yeah.
But like I remember being aware of Karate Kid 3 coming out, which should give you a sense of my age. I saw the next Karate Kid in the theater, and I've always had even a fondness even for that one. Like I remember back when I was growing, there's so many details in this story that just set me in a time and a place. But like I remember when I was growing up, my family would go to the library and you could check out records from the library, and I checked out the Karate Kid Part 3 soundtrack from the library. So that's actually, but of all the first memories of Karate Kid, checking out the soundtrack for Karate Kid Part 3, weirdest first memory you could have. But it wasn't that was my introduction. It's just that that's the earliest memory I have. Karate Kid was always a part of my life, always something I remembered, always something I enjoyed. Like I said, saw Next Karate Kid in the theater. Even that one I have watched countless times back in the day. There's, I think it was a Funny or Die skit from 10, 12 years back about Ralph Macchio growing up and how he doesn't have any issues, so he's trying to be a bad dude and have it's just so like
wax
I remember
on, F off, right?
yes. Just like so funny, just loved it. And then they announced they're doing this Cobra Kai show, 6 years back, and I was like, oh crap, what are they doing? And it was going to be on YouTube Red, which YouTube Red was so bad it doesn't even exist anymore. It just converted into, you can do YouTube without ads. Yeah. It didn't stick around. And then they sold all their assets to everyone else. And so, oh crap, the worst thing out there is going to ruin the Karate Kid. So the day it drops, lifelong Karate Kid fan, I tune in. Ironically, you could watch the first episode for free. I watch it, get to the end of it, look over at my wife, and I think we're both a little confused. Like, wait a minute. I thought I was just watching this ironically. And we're both like, can we watch the next episode? I think I like that.
That's pretty good.
That was good. What just happened? And so then we signed up for YouTube Red. And as it turns out, not having commercials on YouTube is awesome. So we still have YouTube Premium. The reason we signed up for YouTube Premium, as it was called YouTube Red at the time, was just for Cobra Kai. And we still have it 5.5 years later. But binge it over the weekend and was like, what just happened? Like I don't. And so then I spend the next like 2.5 years, and I didn't even cover it when it first came out because nobody watched it because it was on YouTube Red, and it was right when Infinity War came out. It was like the same window of time with Infinity War, and then second season comes out when Endgame comes out. So I barely covered them. But every time people were asking me, oh, that crappy Cobra Kai, that garbage, I was like, dude, if you watch it, if you actually I don't know how they did it, but it is so different, but it's exactly the same. It captures the energy. It's all there. And then whenever they dropped it on Netflix, I did a Karate Kid ranking whenever the first season dropped. Mm-hmm. And it did fine. As soon as Cobra Kai dropped on Netflix, it skyrocketed. And it literally, it went it did 10 times as many views later on, and it did fine. 10 times fine is quite good. But it was when it dropped on Netflix and the show exploded, and all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, have you seen this show?" I was like, "I have been telling you about the show for 2 years now. What are you telling me about the show? I've been telling you about." And so anyway, that's my history with it. So I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and the fun thing over the last 2 seasons is that my my middle child has been getting into it, and so cool. And that's, you know, trying to show her a 40-year-old movie about a guy in need of a father and a father in need of a son. She doesn't fully connect with 40 Karate Kid, but she can connect with this new modern spin that is it's the same journey.
How old is your middle daughter, if you don't mind me asking?
She's 9, probably a little bit too young for Cobra Kai, but you're never too young to fall in love with the good stuff. Yeah.
So I'm curious, how does a 9-year-old like process all of it? Like what stands out to her about the show?
I haven't gotten a good vibe on that. Because even think, the last time we watched it wasn't yesterday when she was 9. It was over a year ago when she was 8.
Yeah.
And she started getting into it when she was like 7. So I think it's some of the irreverence, you know, there's some fights and just kind of humor, but and when you're 7, you're not the best, 7, 8, you're not the best at like, "Well, Father, let me explain to you. I resonate with the teenage politics more so, and TORY, I see TORY, and at first I hated her, but when I started to understand her, it made me look at this girl in my class at school and realize that maybe there's more, like, you know."
Yeah.
So she kind of connected on the I'm not sure, but like we even played the Cobra Kai video game together. So we're like, dude, I'm introducing my kids to like 1990s style side scrollers through Ninja Turtles and Cobra Kai. There's awesome. All of these things that multi-generational. That's fun when that happens.
That's so cool. And yeah, I kind of had a similar story in which I didn't. It's not that I thought the show was going to be bad. I just didn't know what it was.
Right.
I was doing YouTube at the time, but I wasn't doing Cobra Kai Kid, obviously. I was doing a different channel, and I was like doing, and I think I might have had YouTube Premium. Oh no, I didn't have YouTube Premium. I didn't have YouTube. The first episode was free. So I was on YouTube because I like to watch like videos in the background or something. Yeah. So I was doing some homework. I was like, let me just play something in the background. And I saw Cobra Kai. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, sure, let's just throw it on, whatever. So it was in the background. I was doing homework, not even watching it. And then I would just like look up and I'm like, wait, oh, okay. Back to this question. Back to this. And then I was like, wait a second. I actually kind of like, maybe I should pay attention now and rewatch it. So like I just got into it, and then so I found a website where I could watch it, so I didn't have to pay for it. Yeah, because I was like I'm not gonna pay, but like let me search it up. But then after I watched the season 1, I was like, okay, this is too good. I'm like, and I started rewatching multiple times. So then I got YouTube Premium, and I fell in love with it, and yeah, nobody knew what it was. I was like, I wasn't on the internet really, so I felt like I was the only person on planet Earth who knew what Cobra Kai was. I was like, how?
Right, when it fell into this weird spot for like the fact that it exploded eventually is still kind of wild, because if you're in high school, middle school, kind of its target audience when it first came out, you don't know what it is, because you're too young for all the previous stuff. And if you're my age, you're like, oh, what is this crap? Why are you ruining another one of my franchises? Like, it fell perfectly into this empty, dead zone. And that, like, for everyone my age, they had to be won over, because it just sounded like, how could you turn Hot Tub Time Machine people doing that to Karate Kid? How dare you? You're ruining my childhood.
Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, right. And then the magic of the show is that it's a great on-ramp. It works perfectly fine as an on-ramp, which is still astounding to me that it works as an on-ramp. Like it's not possible for me to understand why it works for you. Because I just watch it and there's so many details throughout the entire thing, and it's so overt. Like, we're going to call Terry Silver. Like, why would you? Like, that means nothing unless you're what like, and somehow that worked. And so most people might hate Karate Kid Part 3, and somehow it still worked. And we're like, yeah, they're gonna call Terry Silver, and it worked.
Yeah.
But, and then it also had to like win people over, and it did two very difficult things, which is win a new audience as well as win back a cynical audience.
100%. There's yeah. By the time like Terry Silver was coming into the picture, I knew, I'd seen all the movies, I was into it. But you do have people who have never seen any of the movies, and it's like, like Terry Silver, hey, long time, and it's like it doesn't matter if you haven't watched the movies, because it's like, ooh, there's this new guy, and he's tall, and he's kind of scary looking, and he is rich, and in a way, it's like, that's why it was really cool for me. Like, a lot of people would say, like, you didn't watch Karate Kid when Cobra Kai came out? Like, and I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I kind of preferred that. It was really cool getting to see it from a different perspective. And honestly, I mean, listen, obviously I love the Karate Kid movies.
They should do like a trilogy of movies about this rivalry between Daniel, Mr. Miyagi, and Cobra Kai from back in the 80s. Wait, it already exists? This is the perfect prequel.
You know what, Sean? That's actually what happened to me. So I knew there was a first movie. I didn't know like how many movies there were. And I definitely didn't know about the one with Julie Pierce. But like when I found out that when I found out about, I think it was specifically Karate Kid 3, when I was like, wait a second, this guy Terry Silver? Oh my God, this guy is like, they got to bring this guy in. It was like, it was so mind-boggling to me. It felt like, it felt like I was like, it was like new movies for me.
Right.
It was new content. It was new lore. I was like, but this has been here for over 30 years, and I'm just discovering this.
Right.
It was so crazy. It was such a good time. It was so fun.
Yeah. I don't know. There's so few examples where they've been able to pull this type of thing off.
Yeah.
Of just such cross-generational appeal. Like, I think the person that impresses me, sticks out in my mind the most, guy I worked with when I delivered paint for a living, named Jerry. He is the classic. He's just a couple years older than me, but like he's the get off my lawn. The 80s were the best. Like he's like firm. These movies these days are garbage. Let's get back to the good old days. He hit that phase sooner than most. Like loves movies, but old movies.
Johnny Lawrence.
Yes. Yeah, he's a Johnny Lawrence of the world. Yes, perfect. And when the show first dropped, he was working with him. I'm telling you, it's pretty good. And he didn't watch it until Netflix. And by then, I was full-time on YouTube. He watches it, and he texts me out of the blue. You were right, man. They pulled it off. And he, like, when I think of who's the most cynical, it was him. And then around the same time, my 9-year-old, then 7-year-old, whatever, also was like, can I watch this with you? Like, probably no, but I'm a bad parent, so yes. So I'm kind of a good parent. Some mix of the two. And those two, like that level of cross-generational appeal, that's just really special. And it goes back to, I mean, I think what was so special about the original Karate Kid, that it is this kind of timeless, deeply personal story that hits on several layers, which is why it was so beloved at the time. The story of a kid in need of a mentor, facing bullies. This is, anyone can connect with this. And as you get older, you start to connect with the adult in different ways of, in which case these people that in searching for meaning and impact in their life. And so a great father without a child, like, this is a timeless story that connects with all generations, and it did then. And then they found a way to repackage it and be so true to all of that. But at the same time, flip the formula. And so it's just, they I don't know. It just, one of those shows like that's truly special in what it was able to do. In fact, the only person I found that isn't really crazy about it, I found this out yesterday. I guess Thanksgiving politics comes up, of course. And so apparently with our family, that means talking about Cobra Kai. And my sister, she goes, I guess I mentioned, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a bit about Cobra Kai. And they're doing a new movie. And she goes, yeah, I watched the first season and a half. Didn't like it. What? What?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I don't like that they turned Daniel into a villain. Not cool. It's like, well, I think that's Daniel is acting fully in character. Maybe he's a little dense. Maybe the perspective is different, but Daniel was always obnoxious. That's who he is. He's that guy. And if you keep watching it, he's in no way actually a villain. He's just as flawed as he always was. And I was like, yeah, but you can always watch The Karate Kid from the perspective. He came along and he stole someone else's. They were just like on a break. This is classic stuff. And yeah, then it started getting heavy at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Actually, we were at Cracker Barrel. That's where we were at because it was the way it worked out. We were at Cracker Barrel for my second Thanksgiving with this side, my side of the family. Yeah, I backed off. From the politics, yeah. Well, we don't want to break up the family over these strong conversations, heated conversations.
Oh, definitely. And I've had my few encounters with people more like in person where they've said, yeah, I watched Cobra Kai and I didn't really like it. And probably like there were two really controversial takes that I heard. I was like, wow, like I'm so surprised by out of all the things you could have said, they said the guy with the blonde hair isn't really a great actor. I was like, oh, okay. And then they were like, also the guy with the older guy with the silver hair. I'm like, wow. So she thinks that that Zabka and Griffith are bad actors. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I was like, I had to keep it in me. I was like, oh, okay. You're entitled to your opinion, but no, but the thing is,
they're so good on the show. They fit the show they're in so well.
But you know what? Forget that. It's like, have you ever seen a show with like, there's not a lot of controversy with this show. Like, it's so beloved. How?
That's actually where I was going with this. This is one that was like, especially rewatching the first season, where it's so politically incorrect, and they get away with it. There's been no effort to cancel it. There's nothing on the internet like Johnny Lawrence. How dare he say these ableist statements or whatever? Every time I rewatch, it's like they go so hard on so many inappropriate things, and he's like beating up kids. And no one cares. I was like, what? How did this show get a pass? I love that it got a pass. I'm so grateful it got a pass.
Because, I mean, it's like they kind of like make fun of it. It's like, do you remember like one of the best ones, like one of the best examples where they're like, they're literally making fun of the whole thing. In season 2, Kreese walks into the dojo and he sees a kid wearing a shirt that says like the future is female. And he's like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
It's so funny.
And they get away with that. And it's like, and that, once again, they found the perfect spot in the middle of all of it to where people my age that are like confused by like society these days, we're all like, yeah. And teenagers aren't offended by it. They're like, yeah, okay. Like they found it. They found the way to get away with so much. And like, we're all entertained with the spot that they go with it.
Yeah.
That is magic right there, when you can even pull us together on old men insulting children and assaulting children over political correctness. And we're all like, that was good. That's good humor right there.